It's the Sheryl and Kelly show. Kelly, say hi.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you this month.
Yes, we are so excited. And typically we get started with our conversation and I forget to introduce you, Kelly. So take a second to
Okay.
introduce yourself and then I'll introduce myself and we'll get going.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Kelly Duramshi, and I am the host of the Tutoring Tips for Teachers YouTube channel. And also, we have the Tutoring Tips for Teachers Facebook group. And I love that great community of teachers who want to start their own tutoring business. So come and join us there. And I have my own tutoring business as well, which is called Kelly's Reading Club. And that's a little bit about me. Let's hear about you, Sheryl.
You are so busy. You must be like spinning. You're just chasing yourself.
I know,
I am
feels like
Sheryl
that.
Uehling. Yeah, I am Sheryl Uehling. I have my own private tutoring business called Tutoring with Sheryl, where I support struggling readers and writers, and sometimes I'll help them with their math. Mostly elementary age students right now, but some of my students are aging up into junior high, believe it or not. And then I also help support tutors who are struggling with their tech. And so I really focus on Google Workspace and the apps that are within that to make your life as a tutor much easier if you are wanting to transition to online tutoring, which is where I kind of hang my hat right now. But before we started our record, we were talking about how can we grow our tutoring businesses, and we had this
Mhm.
whole discussion about how your Kelly's tutoring business is just exploding with small groups and in person. And I think people are so curious to know, how are you doing that? And I keep telling you, I just keep getting more one-on-ones, which I love. I love the one-on-ones. They're great. And I've dabbled in some small groups. Is they're just a little bit more challenging, I think, to fill online. And so I
Mhm.
think let's kind of dive into this. Like, how do we do it? Give us some advice. So let's set the stage here. You have a space that you rent and you specifically work with early readers. So go kind of give us a little.
Mostly.
Mostly. Okay.
Yeah.
So go a little bit further. Give us some more background and we'll just kind of just organically let this conversation flow.
Okay, so I'll tell you about how I'm growing my business now. And I am in person and I'm online. So I do both. Um so Cheryl and I have been doing this for this about the same amount of time, right? About 3 years, 3.5 years
Yep.
now we've been at this. And when I started, it was fully online because it was also that we were at the tail end of COVID and all of this, everything was online, right? And that was great. So um and what happened was my business grew pretty quickly, and I was doing groups online. We were talking about that before. I was doing little reading groups online. People really loved it because it was like, the kids, nobody could read. It was a really affordable way to get the support that they needed, and I was able to charge a really low price because I had, like 5 to 10 kids in the group. So I was still not sacrificing my income and able to offer them a really low price. So everybody was winning. It was great. It was going really, really well. I found, though, as time went on, some of the readers, and these were really early readers that I started with too, like kindergarten, grade one. Some of them were like taking off and their skills, and the other ones were not as much. And it became very uneven. And then then after the 10 weeks, it was a 10-week program was done, they'd want to continue. And it would be like, but you're, you know, beyond grade level now. Like, you're not an early reader anymore. You don't need to continue. They're like, no, but
Right.
what? So it was hard to match all the levels I found when it was just me online. So I kind of shifted more into one-to-one online tutoring, and my group shifted to in person, which is where it's at now. But what we were talking about too, Cheryl, before was that you find yourself like really hitting a wall with one, whether it's one to one or even a group, when you're the only tutor in your business. It's like there's always this message that we have to get more students, do this, do that, go on TikTok, go on Instagram, go here, go there, get more students. And that's great, but what do you do with those students when you have them, right? When you have all these
Right.
students and you're like, I can't take any more students. All I'm doing is tutoring, 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 tutoring. And I don't know how to like move past that ceiling of what my time can handle, right? So that's been my problem since I started, because even I was telling you, like 6 months into my business, I was booked. I was fully booked. I couldn't take any more students. I had no more time for them, even in the groups. So and I wanted to hire people, even if I didn't know how. That's a really hard thing to wrap your head around. And I like, and there's not a lot of like practical guidance about it, I find out there. And it's a different journey for every tutor. So I didn't know how to hire people. So I've been like for a couple of years, just sort of, like, I don't want to say stuck is the right word, because I'm very grateful for the business I have. Like it's been good. And I don't work more than like 10 hours a week. I tutor, the max I've been tutoring is about 10 hours a week since I started. And that's for me all I can handle because I have other stuff, I have a family, like,
Well,
other stuff to do, right?
you're a busy mother
Yeah.
and you've got a family and you've got things that you want. We don't go into tutoring because we want to work huge numbers of hours. We still have that passion to tutor or to teach. We're good at it. We get
Mhm.
results, but we want to have a life. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you do when you hit that 10 hours and you're booked and it's like, okay, I can't go any further, like, what do you do? Like, yeah, you can raise your rates. Yes, you can do another group, but, what if you want to like really grow and you want to reach, like I think I have about 35 students right now, but I want to grow it to 50 and then I want to reach 100 students. I can't do that by myself, right? So
Right.
how do you grow beyond that? And that's what we were talking about, is how do you like hire other tutors? How do you make sure they deliver the program at the standard that you want it delivered, like so that they're teaching just like how you would teach, maybe even better, right? How do you do that? And that's what we were talking about, because I know, Sheryl, you're considering hiring somebody else too so that you
I
can
am.
expand your business into the older grades.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
And I think, you just have to, number one, you have to be willing to give up a little bit of control on,
Mhm.
what's going on without you. But you're really working on systems, and
Yeah.
building those systems out. We had talked a little bit about how you're using Tutorbird to kind of manage your tutor payments and all of that. But what I really thought was very interesting was that you're using even some of the things that I mentioned in some of our prior recordings to speed up, building out resources for you, so that you're creating this resource bank for your tutors so that they're using the things that you want them to use. And it's not this stuff that maybe you don't agree with or doesn't follow along with like your teaching pedagogy, I guess, or your curriculum.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, two things with that. One, you always give me great AI tools. So for anyone who wants to like build their business, save time, just grow, these days you need to use AI. Like you have to, right? So follow Sheryl because she's checking out all these teacher AI tools and you have the best advice for us about that. So I get all my AI tool ideas from you, Sheryl. That's
Well,
where like you're the
let's hope
person to
they're
go to.
let's hope it's good advice. I
It is.
and here's the thing about using AI, it's only as good as the information that you put into it. So
Yeah.
you might hear our praise about it and then you try it and you don't like it. Well, it's what you put into it. So it's yeah, that's
Yeah.
another talk for another day.
That's
But you're
another
right.
talk.
You're right. AI tools will definitely speed it up. And just having those systems in place as far as like when you're going to schedule people or when they're going to get their payments or what resources are they going to use, that all takes time. And if you're the only person who's trying to tutor 35 kids on your own, you don't that would be impossible to like
Mhm.
figure that out. You're paying yourself, but I like how you've just gradually added people and like you're hiring people who are passionate about teaching. They've either been in the classroom or they're training to be a teacher. I don't think you've hired anybody that hasn't had some sort of experience either as a librarian or, a counselor or something. I don't know for sure who you've hired, but what I've heard is it's always been somebody who's dabbled in the classroom,
Well,
had
they
their
have
foot
to
in
have
there.
experience with children. So they don't
Okay.
necessarily have to have been in a classroom per se, but they have to have experience working with kids. Because for me, in my program, we really believe in it's all about how the kids feel about learning and feel that feeling good and feeling confident. Like feeling is a really important part of our success. So they've worked with kids and they have a good rapport with kids. They know how to They know how to make kids feel happy, feel comfortable, feel safe. So that's like the number one thing for me, because I'm the teacher. I have 20 years experience in the classroom. I have a master's of education. I can design the curriculum. That's not a problem, right? I can I can plan the lesson. That's not a problem. So I don't need them to do any of that stuff. I just need them to follow what I've built in terms of curriculum and in terms of lesson, to follow that and to implement it in a way that's going to engage their students and make their students feel good and excited about learning. That's what I need them to do. So I've been very fortunate to hire the most perfect team of people to do exactly that. And they do a really great job. So that was like, that's the first thing. And then like you said, from there, and to make sure they do have the tools to do a great job, right, is that it's all about building systems, like you said, Sheryl. And there's so many systems to be built in this. It's not as simple as get more students, get more students, get more students. It's not that simple. Like, there's so much more to that. If you don't have the foundation behind that, then it's going to fall apart, right? Sure, you can get more
Yeah.
students, get more students. You're just going to burn out, because it's going to fall apart when you try to just tutor every minute of the day. So that's why it's all about building systems. And in my course, Tutoring Dreams Start Here, that course is designed for teachers who want to start their own tutoring business. And it talks about building that foundation, building those systems. So it goes beyond get more students, get more students. Yes, we all want more students. You know, that's actually the easy part. It goes beyond that. What are you building? What are you building beneath that idea? Like, what do you have built to support all those students? Because when you bring in those students, whether it's 1 or 10 or 50, you're going to need something to support them. And if you don't have it, then your business is going to fall apart. So it's really about building the systems, which are the foundation behind a strong tutoring business that's going to allow it to grow and allow it to support the students at a really high level. And that's my thing. If I can't support the students at the highest level, then I'm out.
Yep, I agree with
That's
you.
my bottom line.
I totally agree with you. And I'm hearing, systems, foundations, and those are the things, and your course will help somebody wrap their mind around that, because everybody's coming into tutoring having had a different life experience.
Hmm.
Okay. So maybe and I know that there's people who are engineers or nurses or whatever, and they want to tutor. Maybe they're really good at math, they're really good at science, or maybe they were a struggling reader and they've cracked the code on, how to teach their own kids how to read, or maybe they're a homeschooling parent, and they're like, well, I think I want to grow this and I want to have, my own business.
Hmm.
Well, you have to learning how to do it from an expert who's already gone through it is a great place to start. And your courses, I've taken your courses, they're so good. And so, they're not lengthy, they're
No.
straightforward. You're going to get an honest, rendition. You're going to hear Kelly's story, and she's going to
Hmm.
give you a roadmap for how to do it. And so I highly recommend it. Yeah, for sure. I think that would be a great thing. Yeah, we'll make sure that we have the link in the recording.
Yeah, thanks, Sheryl. And I hope that it helps another. I mean, they are designed for teachers, but of course, anyone's welcome to take it. I'm not gonna say you have to be a teacher to take it. It's designed for a teacher in the classroom who wants to either support their income in the classroom or exit the classroom. So it is designed for that person. And yeah, it respects your time. So it's not a long course. It just gives you what you need to know. And what's different about it is that it is about building. How do you build from the ground up? How do you build your business from the ground up? So it's not, there is a little bit about marketing in there for sure, because we all want to get more students. You have to get students, obviously, but it's not just marketing like we were talking about before. Like, there's a whole system behind that. So you can't just start throwing content up on TikTok, throwing content up on YouTube, throwing it here or there with nothing behind it, because it's not going to work. Like, there's a whole, you have to build a system around marketing, like you have to build a system around everything, right? And you know that, Sheryl. You've built such great systems too, around like using Google Classroom. That's amazing, what
Yeah,
you've
I
done with
still
Google
use it
Classroom.
every day,
Yeah.
every day, every day. I'm in Google Classroom, and the members of the Tech Hub, if they want to be in the Tech Hub every day, they can be in the Tech Hub too. And that's where I house it. I mean, it's a blank canvas, and you make it what you want it to be, and that is part of my systems, because my parents know where to find me, my kids know where their resources are. Yeah, it's made it really easy for me to tutor even off my phone if I want to, which I don't
Yeah.
really like to do that too often because the screen is really small and my bifocals might not be quite strong enough. But but you do what you got to do. I mean,
Yeah.
especially if you want to travel. I mean, there's a lot of tutors that don't want to show up at a location because they want to travel, and that's where you and I were talking. Like, I do want to do something in person, but I have one of my kids lives in Chicago, and that's an 8-hour drive from my house, and or an hour flight, and I want to be able to go and see the grandkids, and so that's why I continue to tutor online. But there's still that pull for me to want to meet in person and build these small groups because there's a need for it. There
Yeah,
is
there
a
is.
there is a definite need for it, and not everybody has the technology to work with you online. And so I know I'm missing a certain population that could really use my help. And so that's been a conversation with my husband and I, when is the right time? I mean, the right time would probably be today. But again, I have to have my systems in place for that. Right now, my systems are in place for online tutoring, and
Hmm.
I am an expert at that, and I
Yeah.
can get it done, and it's super easy to do. And moving online or offline is going to require me to have some additional resources. So you have to
For
consider your
sure.
resources. You have to consider, availability. How far away is this online or in-person place? Whereas online, my living room's right outside the door, right outside the
Yeah.
door, So I just walk in and boom, I'm here. In my case, I have to travel into town. It's like a 10-minute trip. It's not huge, but when the weather's bad,
Yeah.
I have to be there to scoop the snow and all that, and then have all the stuff on top of it. So those are just the things that you have to keep in mind if you're going to be in a location. Of course, if you're somewhere where there's no snow, good for you, but we both get snow. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
just
It's
all
all
those
about
things
your
to consider.
situation. Yeah,
Hmm.
for sure. Yeah, that's true. Well, I hope though, Cheryl, that you can grow your business too and hire other tutors and expand, and then you can travel and not worry about anything while your
Yeah,
tutors are tutoring, and
there we
just
go.
just make sure
That's
everything is running smoothly.
that might be a way to put my brain at ease. Like, you create the system, they're in
Yeah.
charge, you check in. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm plenty busy the way that things are going, but I just keep thinking, there is another opportunity there, and that I should really capitalize on that to help as many kids as I can. Because
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, your time is valuable, and you only have so much of it, and the kids
Yeah.
only have so much of it.
Yeah,
So, when you're
exactly.
thinking about the number of students that you want to serve, our kids are out of school around here it's about 3:45 in the afternoon. And then most of them have a bus ride home because we're in a very
Okay.
rural area. So really,
Yeah.
local students are not available until 4:30. Well, older students can stay up, and probably attend, mind-wise as late as 7:30, I would think. But I wouldn't want to go any later than that because they're tired. And
Yeah,
how much are they gonna
exactly.
remember? So when the school year is going on, you only have that finite amount of time, like a 3-hour time window, really, where you're gonna have good attention spans, and it's gonna be a worthwhile time period for local students. When you're online, you can get students in other time zones and fill those slots. But yeah, there's a lot to kind of wrap your mind around. So yeah, I think this
Yeah.
has been a great conversation about, you know, um, small groups and how they can grow your business. What else is going on that you want to share?
That's the main thing, Cheryl. That's the main thing for me. I gotta run because I have a call coming up soon. But that's about it. How about you? Do you want to share anything before we go?
Probably not. I think, I in last month's recording, we had everything that was going on in the Tech Hub, and I think I can just hop on live and share with that. And I think this will be a good conversation for people to kind of sink their teeth into. And so we will leave both links for your course and for the
Mhm.
Tech Hub for tutors,
Perfect.
and people can dive in and learn more. But I always love spending time chatting with you. I grow my business every single conversation. So I'm so
Me
glad that
too. Me
I'm so
too.
glad that we met, and we've
Yeah.
been able to do this over the course of several years, and now that we're recording them and helping other people grow their businesses, I think it's great.
I know it's great. It's so nice to see you, Cheryl. Nice to
Yeah,
see
you
everyone
too.
out there too.
Yeah. Thanks everybody. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.